Hello, and welcome to an all new episode of Talking About Walkers. I am your host, Kinte, all the way live from Los Angeles, California, and I'm so happy to be here with you. And I am joined by my wonderful, beautiful co-host, the one and only. We'll start off with Jen. How you doing, Jen?
Hey, I'm doing really, really good. I can't believe that we're already back to The Walking Dead. Feels like just yesterday we stopped.
I know, right? I know.
Does.
All right,
It's
and
been like a
also
year and a half.
it seems like it, but no. Also joining us is Grayson. How you
Hey,
doing,
y'all.
Grayson? Yes. How you been?
I'm good. It's like a new year, new happiness, new Walking Dead. Loving it.
All right, all right, all right. I'm glad that you guys are all doing well. I'm myself just hanging in there and trying to, keep it interesting for all you fine people. So we'll see how this will go. It's been a while. We're going to cover the mid-season premiere. The episode is entitled Squeeze. And so let's get into it. I think a good place to start off at is where we left off in the finale. I know we didn't do an episode for the finale, so shame on us. But,
Yeah.
And
but
shame on us for not doing the bonus episode, too. Oh, my God.
yeah, I know we suck.
That was
Uh,
kind of crazy actually, but
so Jen, you want to talk about it just briefly?
you know, okay. What would you like me to briefly talk about first of all? Because I have so many thoughts about all of this altogether.
No, the bonus.
Oh, the bonus episode?
Yeah.
I only fast forwarded through it, so I didn't. I'm maybe Grayson should talk about it because I really didn't find anything that I thought was too super awesome about it.
Was there anything you want to talk about the bonus?
It was kind of like a sad little episode there. It was one of those things of, there it is, Sadiq, gone, it's like, but the one that was really the shocker, it's like, okay, you're a you're supposed to be a man of God there, and you go ahead and you do that. Oh my God. Like the jail scene, that was just merciless.
I,
I was like, I didn't think you'd have it in him.
Something that has happened since the transition, since the break, right, since the mid-season finale to now, is I've really had a chance to think critically about what happened during the first part of this season, and I think the reason that it didn't shock me is because, that I didn't find it too amazing, is because I feel like this season of The Walking Dead is sort of like trying to resuscitate the story, and they just haven't hit the right shock wave yet. Does that make sense? I mean, like, I'm not trying to diss the. I still love the series, but I am just. It dragged a lot in the early part of the series. I mean, in the early part of this season, and I think that they are still sort of trying to come back with something. And certainly, the mid-season finale had plenty of meat on the bone to kind of go, oh my God, what's happening? But at the same time, it's almost like, well, nothing really feels shocking. Like everything feels like, oh yeah, okay, they killed off
See,
another
I love
character.
that. Where it's like, I totally agree with that in a lot of ways, but also it was one of those. I like the fact that they kind of eased you back in. I'm looking now for episode 2 to get really, really super exciting. It's kind of like, okay, we've lulled you into a nice false sense of this is just going to be one of those relaxed seasons, and suddenly it's like, nope, we're throwing Michonne into this whole entire thing. It's like, with the whole thing of going there with this with this Walker betrayal and all that. And I'm sitting there going, okay, nice ease in. I'm looking forward to seeing this all come to a head.
It was definitely very from a viewer perspective. It was really shocking to know that that what somebody would do in terms of messing with the water supply was that piece was so easy for someone to do. to make people sick and die en masse. It's to me that is no different than somebody saying, okay, I can just commit mass murder and not feel anything for it. And that really did have a big emotional impact on me. It's just that so far, the characters that I still really adore feel like they are so removed from some of this danger that I don't feel like they're in peril. So maybe it didn't hit me quite as hard.
Yeah. And I get that. It's like, but from a viewer point of view, it was one of those sitting there going, really, I like the fact that you're at least easing me in. You're not just jumping me. It's okay. Last season, we were getting something, as you said, meat on the bone. And then all of a sudden, it's like, it's kind of nice to thank you for working me into this. Not just jumping in, full hog and trying to make my brain go, oh, okay, let's adjust here.
Because boy, what an episode to sort of throw us back into everything with, right?
Exactly.
Can I say something about this episode, sort of just as an overall observation?
Sure.
I don't really understand what it is about shows that think that if they shoot something really dark, that it somehow makes it more edgy. Look, I'll suspend belief.
All it does is make it dark.
It just, yes. I will happily, if you tell me that it's dark in here, believe that it's dark in here, and you can still show me what's going on. I hate that. I can't stand not being able to see stuff. It doesn't actually make it more tense for me. It just makes it confusing. And I had the contrast on my TV turned all the way up so that I could see what was going on. And it was just, why do I need to do that? I felt the same way in Game of Thrones, by the way. But I feel like that was actually a mistake in the cave. I loved it. I loved how tense it was in the cave, but I was so distracted by the production quality in that it actually took me out of the story.
Yeah, I was sitting there going, like, I'd rather see what's going on. Thanks.
Yeah. What'd you think, Kinte?
I wasn't really. I'm gonna be 100. I'm gonna keep it 100.
Keep it real.
It was okay. It was an okay episode. I wasn't in love with it. To be honest with you, there were times where it lost my attention. It wasn't like a terrible episode. Like if this was another season or something, I probably would have liked it a little bit better. But I don't know, man. I had a hard time getting into, especially all the cave stuff. Even when there were situations where characters were in peril, like you said, I was just kind of just like, okay, we know how it's gonna all end and all of that. And so I was just kind of like whatever about it. The best scene, and the scene everybody talked about, is the hoochie coochie going on.
Oh God, that was like so disturbing. I think that disturbed me more than the cave.
But you know what? It was different than anything they've done on the show, and also it wasn't sexy at all.
No, it's like the revamp from Ghost. Like if Ghost were in The Walking Dead.
Yeah, ladies, I just want to let ladies know this one thing. If you're gonna make love to a guy, take off your zombie skin mask. It's not cute. It's not cute at all.
Okay, I'm gonna take. So I was gonna do this at the end of the episode, but I'm gonna do it now. So one of the things that I actually really love about Alpha is that she never misses an opportunity to weaponize anything she can, anything. And weaponizing sex is, to me, one of the most both disturbing and amazing things that they have twisted tables on. Rather than turning Negan into a sexual predator, which we clearly knew that he was, he had a harem back at Sanctuary. They create the Alpha dynamic so that she is using sex as a weapon with him. And I'm not saying that using sex as a weapon is ever okay. I'm just saying that in the context of the story, it absolutely flipped things upside down, and I was super impressed with the branch that they went out on in order to write that. It felt dangerous. It felt not the scene didn't. I mean, the scene. I think I need therapy from that scene, but that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that from a story perspective, that was a huge risk to take, and I'm really glad that they took it, because in retrospect, it gives Alpha this sense of dominance that we oftentimes only attribute to men, and flipping it and giving it to a woman was really, really amazing. So
I have to take issue with something you said. There's nothing wrong with having you a harem. That'll make you a predator.
oh, come on, Negan was serious. Okay, maybe the harem didn't make him a predator, but he was seriously a predator. Negan really was.
I think she a predator. She marched
Sure.
out.
Yeah, absolutely. That's exactly what I'm saying. The tables. Yep, the tables are completely turned.
Oh, it's okay when a woman's a predator?
No, what I'm saying is I'm really glad that they take the equal opportunity to make basically both of these people who are apex bad guys, and they don't pull any punches. They don't say, well, a woman wouldn't do this or a woman wouldn't do that. And to me that seems incredibly it seems like that the style of writing, or I shouldn't say the style of writing, the fairness in the writing that was a big risk, and I am definitely appreciative of that fact.
Mm. Well, I feel so bad for Negan. He was violated, and poor guy. I mean,
You think he was violated?
yes, he was made to.
He didn't seem violated to me.
He did, but you know what? People deal with their violations differently. So
he said it's been so long I don't even care. So
well, he had to say what he had to say. Who had the power? Who had the power?
Well, that's why I think flipping the script is so incredibly powerful. That's exactly why it's so powerful. Because yeah, we don't know. I mean, when I say that Alpha used sex as a weapon, I'm not joking. I'm serious. She really did. And that on its face is huge. I feel like it was too gratuitous, and I don't even mean that in sort of like the vaguest sense of I just feel like maybe they didn't need to actually show some of what they showed. But I do think that every bit of dialogue that we had up to that point was insanely important, because it showed exactly, like you said, well, what was Negan going to do? Turn her down? He couldn't.
No, so he was
stuck.
Yeah, he was used and abused, man. Poor Negan, man.
Yeah, I'm sure that he was like horribly, that he'll be horribly scarred for life now.
I wouldn't go so far as to say poor Negan. But I do think that it was definitely very telling. It was very also telling about.
It's telling in this podcast how you would run your group, Missy.
Yeah, think so, huh? Well, we'll just have to try that theory out.
Marching people out to the middle of the woods. But no, it was a good. I mean,
that's
it was
just a Tuesday. Oh no, sorry, I shouldn't say that.
But it was a good. It was a good scene, because it was one of those scenes that got people talking, right? I mean,
definitely.
So it accomplished what it is, because it was a buzzing on social media about it.
Well, it was the only buzz on social media, because it's like, I'm sorry, I really hate the fact that they made Carol all like, scared and, like, I am claustrophobic. I can hardly do anything. It's like, really, this is not the Carol that we are used to. So it was kind of nice to have that juxtaposing of like having Alpha, who is like, no, I'm the boss.
Yeah, well, for sure. And also I have to agree. It seemed to me like they are trying to dial Carol back in a way that doesn't actually make character sense.
Yeah. like in previous episode, even on the bonus episode, she's like, screw you, Ezekiel, I'm leaving and going off to go do this adventure crap. And then, then it's like, oh, I'm so scared. I'm so frightened. Oh my God, it's a tight space. What am I going to do? I can't breathe. Really?
Okay, wait. As somebody who actually suffers from some weird anxieties that don't make any sense, I do understand that, right? I do understand having really strange anxieties that you can't explain to anybody, and it does really weird things to your brain. The issue that I have with the way that they treated Carol was that they, at the same time that they make her afraid or behaving with anxiety, they also give her this overriding function of, I'm going to go back into the cave with the dynamite and blow up the walkers, knowing that would probably kill everybody. Look, I'm at some point it's like Carol has become, she didn't used to be, but Carol has become a schizophrenic in character presentation. Not the character is schizophrenic, but the way that she's presented to us has this like, okay, she's this, okay, she's that, okay, she's this, okay, she's that. It doesn't line up, right? Yeah.
It's kind of like, okay, the original Carol who like basically slit her kid's throat kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's a different sort of Carol. This is like the I'm so weak Carol that, you're sitting there going, really? Are you?
Well, and
where did the original Carol go?
But that's just it. They want to have it both ways, because in the same episode, they also tried to make it feel like when she was talking to Daryl that she felt so wronged by Alpha that she was willing to do anything. And the trip back into the cave with the dynamite that ultimately, cut off two of the people in the cave now has created this really weird relationship between Carol and Daryl and everybody else, because Carol is the one who is not just off the rails. She's been off the rails for probably the past season or two. And I get it. I mean, in this season,
you're allowed to lose your mind a little.
She lost who she felt like was her child. I totally get that. That is absolutely valid. But the writing for Carol feels so inconsistent.
It feels so contrived.
And because if you look at Alpha as a juxtaposition here, Alpha stands in stark contrast. Alpha never wavers. Alpha is always the same. And I'm not saying we should make Carol a bad guy and turn her, but if Carol is going to suffer from things that are life altering, then they have to be consistent in order for us to believe them. She can't waver in them.
And you also can't have her, having all of these motherly feelings and then all of a sudden, not give a shit about anybody else's human life.
Well, right, because obviously these people are also children of other people or loved ones of other people. And nobody is that devoid of empathy that they can't understand that their actions have ramifications. Even people who are acting out of blind anger have more control over.
Or a narcissistic point of view. We'll still always have an opportunity to, they still do have somewhat of a conscience. Even a sociopath has somewhat of a conscience. They just avoid their conscience.
I gotta say, that scene with the dynamite, it actually pissed me off. It pissed me off because one, I felt like, okay, well now Carol's fine with going back in the cave and now she's not scared anymore and what the heck. But then number two, I don't care if she thought that she could blow up the herd. She had to know that going through that motion was going to lead to immediate peril for the people that were involved who hadn't exited the cave yet. It just, it smacks of Carol being like so far off the rails emotionally and cognitively that she almost doesn't even feel like a functioning person anymore. It really annoys me, actually.
And it actually goes against the whole entire character that we've come to know.
Right.
And it's kind of like, okay, well, why did we sell out Carol? And why did we make this really weird relationship between Carol and Daryl again?
See, and I thought that
It was
relationship was going to
super
be.
weird.
I thought that relationship was going to end up being a redemptive arc for Carol. That
Yes.
that she and Daryl would figure out a way to find some redemption together, and that would feel great. But no, and now she's just alienated Daryl, who's like, okay, whatever, see you, bye. I mean, it's just wow. Tell us what you think, Kinte.
I don't know, man. Okay, I know you're not gonna like what I'm about to say.
Uh-oh.
But Carol is not one of my favorite characters at all. I've never liked Carol. So I mean,
tell us how you really feel.
I get why you ladies like Carol, because they made her like this strong character at times and stuff, and she's had this art. So I get that, but for me, I don't know. I didn't like her from the beginning, and so and then she's just so all over the place. She kind of reminds me at times like Kate from Lost, where like Kate is is a strong character and all that, but then she does some dumb stuff, and you're like, what the hell is wrong with this woman? So I think a lot of it is the writers don't do her justice sometimes. So I think that's partly the issue. It's not the actress. The actress is
she is actually really
we're not talking about her acting. We're talking about
Melissa McBride.
The writers went completely left field.
Yeah, and I think Melissa McBride does the best that she can with what she's given. But I will also say this. Part of where I think the systemic issue happens, and this happens with The Walking Dead often. I love you, Walking Dead, don't get me wrong, but I have to be critical where I feel like it's important. That where characters don't have a sustained presence in the comics, it feels like they go so far off the rails in all these different directions because there's nothing to tie them back to the main plot again. And it's weird the way that it seems to happen that way. But we know already what the presences are for Negan. We know what the presences are for Alpha. We knew what the presences were for Rick. We had a really strong sort of character understanding of who they were, and they didn't veer far from who the characters were, even if their story arcs changed a lot. And with Carol, there just isn't enough, I don't think, for them to sustain a kind of personality arc all the way through, because she just doesn't have any ties.
But I do agree with that. But I would also say as well, another one that they use as a juxtaposition in that way is like Michonne. So what I'm thinking is that the writers actually have fallen asleep at the wheel. Sorry, but they have. It's like they've just taken this mediocre writing to just be acceptable in this sense.
I agree. Yeah,
I agree as well. Okay, so do you think that they're going to be dead?
No, but I think one of them will die. But I don't think they will both be dead. No,
I don't think so either. I think the deaf lady. I'm so sorry, I can't remember her name. I don't think she's gonna die.
Why don't you think she's gonna die?
I just feel like when they didn't kill the Samoan dude, right? They had a good opportunity and all of that. Then it made me just kind of go, okay, they don't, they fall in love with all their characters. I think sometimes people got to go. You know what I mean? And I think they have too many characters now on the show.
So Connie is actually one of those characters that I actually like. I feel like they did a good job by bringing her in, because it opens up a different kind of storytelling that they're able to tell. But you're right in what you say. There's too many characters, and this is why I think that the Carol story, that there's no excuse for the Carol story. There are so many characters, and they focused all their attention on a few of them this episode, and there was no reason that they couldn't get that right. None. Look, I'm not writing the show. I'm not saying, it's easy. I know it's hard, but we expect big things from The Walking Dead, and I don't think that there's any reason that the fans shouldn't expect big things.
Well, we also want it to be fresh year after year after year. This is the whole thing. It's like, as writers, you're usually writing 2 and 3 seasons ahead at a time in regard to the show, or it's like plotting it at least at this point. And it's kind of okay, you waited a year and a half to give this out to us with all of the controversy that was going on of where they were shooting and stuff like that. And that's why, and a lot of production delays and things like that. It's like, okay, I get it. But now we're running into what's known as lazy writing. Into the lazy writing zone. It's I had the plots and I'm just trying to pump up something to fill in space. And I'm really hoping that by episodes, at least 3 or 4, we're going to start getting to see that Walking Dead writing that we used to see in the previous seasons.
This is just what I see. I mean, obviously, I'm not in the writing room, and I'm not trying to be so super critical, but the way that I sort of feel as a viewer that things are happening is there's all these plot issues that they want to get out, and they're good plot issues. I mean, every time a new storyline pops up, it's like I'm filled with hope again. Like, oh, this could be great. This could be really cool. And the characters bumble their way through the story plots, and they create this kind of ambiguity in it that makes me completely uninterested. And so the cave scene could have been amazing. It could have absolutely been amazing. The way that they treated Carol and Daryl in the cave scene made me feel like they lost an opportunity to make 2 of their strongest characters into true heroes. They could have really stepped them up into a kind of, okay, look, we're going to be in these positions where even if we're not seen as leaders, we know what we're doing. And instead it turned into, okay, we should feel sorry for everybody. And look, I'm tired of feeling sorry for everybody on The Walking Dead. I love you all, but there's only so much of that we can take before you got to give us more to replenish that well.
Well, and also, at this point in time, it's like they should be really used to this world. We shouldn't be feeling sorry for them. We should be seeing some sort of creationism on their part. At this point, the pity for one is over.
You know where they get that right? Whenever they deal with Michonne. Whenever they deal with Michonne, something phenomenal always happens. And it just feels like it's a whole new world again. It's only when we're dealing with the characters that I think that they're trying to make us sort of craft feelings for, and it doesn't work. Don't do it like that. Tell us the story. And just tell us the story and let us feel about the characters the way that we want to feel about them. Don't try to force us to feel any way about the character. Just tell us the story. That's where I feel like they go wrong continually.
Yeah, just like even in that bonus episode, going back to that one, I'm sorry, having him save Rosita from the zombies. It's like, okay, how many times has she been up against this? Seriously? Now she chooses to be weak just because she had a baby?
Yeah, I don't know exactly what they were doing with that.
So it's kind of like, okay, what they've done is they basically took all of the strong female characters, decided that, they should be vulnerable and genteel, and making it like, okay, we need a man who comes and saves us. It's like, except for Michonne, where they're turning around and saying, it's like, she at this point in time is just so raw and empty. It wouldn't matter if a man came into her world or not. Well, he could be an ear puffer as far as she's concerned.
Well, honestly, see, that's one of the reasons also, and I know it's gross, but that's also one of the reasons that I really like the fact that Alpha flipped the script again. Because it reminds us that, look, it doesn't matter what gender you are. That, I think, was my whole point.
Maybe say it well.
If you are terrible, you are terrible. It has nothing to do with your gender. It has nothing to do with what your past experience was at this point in this world. What matters is what you do every day in this post-apocalyptic zombie world that either helps people or hurts people. And every time I see this sort of fallback to I'm a helpless female or I need a man to save me, or and it doesn't always happen, because we've had plenty of opportunities in The Walking Dead where women have been at the absolute forefront of everything, but every time they move back into the damsel in distress trope, it kills me inside, because we've grown past that. The Walking Dead has grown past that. We don't need that anymore for good storytelling. Tell us the zombie apocalypse story, not a damsel in distress story.
Yeah, start showing me survivors.
But then sometimes damsels are in distress, though.
Well, yes. And you can tell us a story that includes somebody being in distress, but we don't need it to be the trope of the damsel in distress. That's
Man, y'all got it good, because all the black dudes on the show suck. So I wish they was as strong women on the show. Man, don't get me started on the way they do brothers on the show.
Yeah, no kidding. They
wow.
them off.
Yeah, I know. It's like you just get to know them, and then like, don't even bother getting to know them.
So, but no, I mean, I hear what you're saying, though. I don't, it's and it's not even just this show. Most shows have these same things going on in them. So,
that's
which is quite annoying. So,
yeah.
I feel you on that. But you know what, though? When y'all ladies are in peril, I'm gonna be like, nah, y'all strong women. Y'all got it.
You want to know one good thing that happened in this episode that I really did think was important and well done? And again, it goes back to the Whisperers camp. But I loved the way that Negan came up with this idea that, oh, hey, maybe the spy is in your midst. And maybe you're not looking close enough to home. And Alpha immediately dismisses it in front of him like, dude, you're on crack. What the heck? Nothing like that could ever happen to us. And then thinks about it and obviously embraces it. To me, that was really well done, because it felt exactly like the kind of thing that a leader, especially a leader who's trying to save face in front of all of her other people, would do.
Yeah.
Not admit anything, do the right kind of, yeah, okay, yeah, you're actually making a lot of sense here, and then follow up and then say, okay, you were right. But never, ever, ever giving up the fact that, that you didn't know, that you weren't strong enough to know. Do you know what I mean? Like, that was really well done to me.
True. And then also as well, when, Data turns like the secondary guy is like turning around and saying, well, I'll handle her with the spy. And she's like, no, you're going to bring her to me. I'll handle her.
Right.
It's kind of that, you don't get to have the say. Understand, you're my bitch, and you get to bring the girl to me.
We actually had a conversation in our house while we were watching The Walking Dead about why he stays with Alpha and why that dynamic is so just mired in really sort of deep biting abuse. And it's to me, that's one of the most interesting relationships that exists in The Walking Dead right now, is that dynamic between him and Alpha. It's absolutely horrific.
It's like the abused person who doesn't leave the abusive relationship.
They can't see it. They just can't see it. And I think even if he wanted to see it, that he wouldn't, that he couldn't admit it, because it just feels too powerful. Yeah, I definitely liked that. I liked that whole middle piece with the Whisperers was actually really well done. Also, I have to say, I have to kind of tip my hat a little bit to the Whisperers overall, having such incredible intel. I mean, for a group that is scattered and cultish the way that they are, without having a lot of organization in terms of, they're not sitting together, they're not having, daily meetings and stuff, man, they can accomplish a lot. To me, that's one of the like biggest, coolest sort of quasi mysteries of who the Whisperers are. And in this episode, they did a really good job. I mean, they have a whole horde of walkers at the bottom of a cave in this huge cavern, ready to unleash. I mean, that's like having a nuclear weapon, and the only thing that your opponent has is a pea shooter. It's like, it's insane how well they have organized with the tools that are available to them in the zombie apocalypse. It's really impressive.
Well, which makes me go, okay, this faction group does this, and it's kind of like, okay, what have you guys been doing for the last 7 years since this has happened? Obviously, you've been sleeping on the job, because it's like these people, they don't even like each other, and they can manage to keep it together. And you can't even so much as figure out a place where to live that doesn't keep getting burnt or blown up.
So this kind of goes back to a theory that I have about The Walking Dead altogether. Well, about the reorganization of society in The Walking Dead, and I've had it ever since I started reading the novels, because although they don't follow the same storyline exactly, there are some similarities. And that is that the reorganization of a society is, you have to make choices. And the choices are usually either you become civilized or you survive in a post-apocalyptic world. And oftentimes I think that our Alexandria people and others make choices to try to be civilized, and they do it at the expense of surviving. Which, if we look at the other side and we look at the Whisperers, they're making the choice to survive, but they're giving up. They're almost feral. They're giving up the idea of civilization as okay, this is what we do. We can't be civilized and survive at the same time. I find it really fascinating.
Yeah, it's one of the deeper things about this show and the content as a whole.
For sure.
All right, so going forward, what do you expect? Well, I don't want to say what you expect. What do you guys want to see for these last episodes of this season?
Some more people get killed so that we can thin down the crowd here.
I didn't hear you. What'd you say, Gray?
I was saying that kill more people so that we can thin down the crowd. The herd's too big of characters.
Too big. Oh God.
What about you, Jen? Is there anything you want to see?
I really want to see more Michonne. I know that we're going to lose her soon. Well, we're going to lose her. The show's going to lose her. I want to see as much of her as possible. I really want. God, I don't even know how in the world it came full circle to say this, but the only one that's left that I feel like I can pin any kind of leadership hope on is Daryl. And I really want to see him step up. I don't know. Something's got to change, because right now it feels so fragmented. It feels almost tribal. And I can't imagine that that's going to work very well going forward.
Okay, well, we'll see what's going to happen. Hopefully it'll be really good.
Yeah, what about you?
I just want to see good episodes, man. I'm not even, I don't even know if there's something specific I want to see. I just want to see good episodes, and hopefully the season ends on a high note.
Kinte's like, I'm just here for the snacks.
Here for the snacks. That's for sure. That is for sure. Grayson, how can we get you on social media and all that good stuff?
Well, on social media, you can stalk me on Facebook, on Twitter, on LinkedIn, on Wikipedia. And then also you can have me on the website, which is www.pastlifeproductionsinc.com, as well as also, there's so many ways to stalk me. And now we can also stalk me on other websites, apparently 17 others, podcasters.com and who knows? Maybe we'll actually get to UCP too. So who knows where we can stalk me? And by the way, if you can't find me, you're just not stalking me hard enough.
Amen. Amen. All right. What about you, Jen?
You can find me on Twitter at followingbliss1. You can also check out my websites at moviesmakethemeal.com. And my new launching website, which I'm super excited about, is Studio White Wolf.
All right. And that's where you're raising white wolves, right?
I am actually raising white wolves. They're gorgeous. They're beautiful. They won't be up for adoption anytime soon. But you can stop by and listen to some content. That might be fun. So yeah.
I love it. I love it. You can get me at Kinte F on Twitter, Kinte Ferguson on Instagram, and of course the website is indyradio.org. That's indyradio.org. Join us next week for an all-new episode of Talking About Walkers, the Walking Dead podcast. Thank you guys so much, and we'll catch you next time. Peace.
See you later.